This will provide you information about the Office of Legal Affairs at DTSC. Where does the Office of Legal Affairs fit? This slide shows you our position in the department. The Office of Legal Affairs is made up of two units, the Office of Legal Counsel and the Office of Planning and Environmental Analysis. Both of these units are supervised by DTSC's Chief Counsel. The Office of Legal Counsel helps to ensure that the department's actions are legally defensible. OLC attorneys review key documents, they represent the department in negotiations and in hearings, and they update program staff on changes to the law that impact DTSC. The Office of Planning and Environmental Analysis, OPIA, is responsible for ensuring that the department complies with the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, called CEQA, which will be discussed later in this presentation. In general, all laws are part of a hierarchy. Under the Supremacy Clause, federal laws may have priority over state laws. The federal and state constitutions provide for the powers of government and the rights and liberties of citizens. Under representative democracy, elected officials in the United States Congress and in the California legislature enact laws that, when signed by the executive, become enforceable statutes. Regulations are then promulgated when necessary to interpret statutes and add implementation. Disputes about the law go to judges. Those judges' decisions become case law that determine how similar disputes about the law should be interpreted. Regulations are a type of law. Regulations are authorized by statutes and are developed by agencies through a rulemaking process that is prescribed by law. State agencies hold meetings and public hearings to allow the public to have input into whether the regulation should be adopted, rejected, or modified in some way. After a regulation is adopted, it becomes enforceable law. Regulations often give details on how a statute should be carried out. Now, let's talk specifically about what the Office of Legal Counsel does. The core function of the Office of Legal Counsel is to assist in the department's regulation of individuals and companies that manage hazardous waste and to oversee cleanups of hazardous releases. But the Office of Legal Counsel has many other functions as well. Some of these include recovery of DTSC oversight and cleanup costs, fee appeals, assisting in Public Record Act requests for documents, rulemaking, and dealing with DTSC's personnel issues. The Hazardous Waste Control Law is found in Chapter 6.5 of Division 20 of the California Health and Safety Code and establishes safeguards and standards for regulating the generation, storage, treatment, transportation, and disposal of hazardous waste. This created a cradle-to-grave system for tracking the generation, handling, and disposal of hazardous waste. The Hazardous Waste Control Law is central in the work of the Office of Legal Affairs and one of the department's most important laws. It authorizes the department to regulate the community in two key ways. One, to permit facilities that manage hazardous waste, and two, to take enforcement actions against individuals and businesses that improperly manage hazardous waste, regardless of whether they are permitted. DTSC's cleanup of many sites contaminated and threatened by hazardous substance releases is controlled by Chapter 6.8 of Division 20 of the California Health and Safety Code. The California Hazardous Substances Account Act, the HSAA, grants the department authority relating to the cleanup of hazardous substances. The HSAA is California's version of the Federal Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation and Liability Act, known as CERCLA. The department oversees the cleanup efforts made by responsible parties, specifies cleanup standards, and is reimbursed by them for the department's time spent overseeing cleanup. The HSAA allows DTSC to expend funds to respond to emergencies and to clean up orphan sites. Under the polluter pays principle, OLC has an active role in recovering costs from parties who are financially responsible for the release of hazardous substances and the cleanup and the necessary protectiveness measures taken to ensure that the releases will not pose an ongoing threat to human health or the environment. OLC attorneys help in the search for these responsible parties, and they advise the department on the best course of action for collection and in enforcement of cleanup orders. This can include settling outstanding costs in an agreement, placing liens on affected properties, assisting in litigation, and properly documenting unresolved claims in the administrative record.